So serious out there.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Good to see everybody.
Thank you, because I'm not usually at a loss for words, but I'm not quite sure what to say at this moment. As somebody who grew up in that era and is a tremendous sports fan, just to try and put it in a little bit of context, and thank you all. You know, at that point in the college sports world and the sports world generally, ESPN had taken over, Nike had taken over, everything had become bigger than anyone could have ever possibly imagined it to be. Sports is always going to be a business and a commodity, but y'all put a human face on sports right at a point in time where it had lost all sense of that. And I think since then it's just opened the door to so many other stories and a human element for so many people that, you know, we get to remember that y'all are folks and you know, good folks too along the way, and not just who we see on the court, but who we see off the court. Yeah. So thank y'all for that, because I don't think we'd appreciate sports in the same way, but for, you know, y'all putting yourselves out there like that, which isn't an easy thing to do. Questions?
I'll tell you an interesting thing. I don't know if this is on. Okay. One of the things that's, you think about context of change over the period of years. When the film came out, actually a lot of people didn't want to really release the film. They wanted to remake the film into a Hollywood movie. So when we were at Sundance, when we first showed the film, a lot of people would come up to us and go, "We loved the film, we loved it. We can't wait to remake it." Because they didn't think that people would watch a film like this in a movie theater or on TV. And it's interesting now that if you look at it 20 years later, where there isn't a minute, I mean, if you turned on TV right now, there'd be 5 sports films on. And at the time that we were doing this, this was one of the few sports films that was on television. Maybe there was NFL Films, and that was about it. And in movie theaters, very few sports films and very few documentaries that were released in theaters themselves. So it was a very different time. Now you think about how prevalent sports is and how it's become more and more and more prevalent from what it was at that time. It's amazing. Yeah.
Most definitely. Y'all want to just give a little personal update where things are right now, so everybody can put some context?
I can't spoil anything for the guys. Me and William is gonna do that on our own. We're gonna film our own update. We're gonna do a 1 hour.
Hoop Dreams the sequel?
No, it's not even a Hoop Dreams a sequel. It's an Arthur Agee, William Gates 1 hour. You're just gonna be able to sit with us on someone's network, you know. So, no, but got my beautiful mom here, Sheila Agee. You know. Man, well, what y'all see in the film, we left off, I finished college, Arkansas State University in '95, and went on to play basketball, semi-pro. I tried to chase that dream of NBA, and you know, it was just up and down. And with the film, you know, having that out, a lot of coaches and, you know, semi-pro leagues was like, you know, thinking I was better than what I was, didn't really give me a shot or anything, but I wasn't one of those kids that put all my eggs in the basketball bucket, you know, so I always felt like I could do other things. I was talented, I was skillful, I was intelligent, I'm handsome, I can do, you know, I can do a lot more things than just play basketball. So just, you know, just right now, life is pretty good, you know, just went through some trials and tribulations, and you know, with my dad and my little brother, they're not here with us anymore. But that just made us stronger, So it's my comrade, my brother, Mr. William Gates.
Hey, just gonna throw it on me.
Yeah.
Quick update. Also, you know, my brother's no longer with us, but I'm grateful. This movie actually is bittersweet. You know, I'm glad we did it because we have these memories forever. But I had to walk out because I just couldn't see and hear that, just his voice, because it just takes you back to that moment. But his family is doing well. My mom is doing well. She is finally retired. Yes. Love Emma. And personal update with me, I'm now living in San Antonio, Texas. Love the heat, love the weather. Can't beat it. The young lady you saw in the movie, Who I Married, we just actually celebrated 20 years of marriage. My little girl, who is now not so little anymore, she is 25. Just doing the dang on thing, as they say. She is a dentist. I mean, buying a house. I mean, not in daddy's pocket anymore. So I mean, I'm just, and I have 3 boys. Will Jr., he's actually a sophomore at Furman University in South Carolina, and I have Jalen. He's number 2 in line. He's a junior in Samuel Clemens in Texas, and my wife let me sneak one more in. I have little Marcus. That's my man. He just turned 11 yesterday. So, things are good. I mean, I won't say things are great, but things are really good. I'm grateful for where I'm at in life right now.
Well, that's enough for us because we won the stars of the movie. Here is the star of the movie right here. You know, I take a picture of her and tweet it. Everybody asking me, man, what's she doing? How is she? Man, I love your mama, man. So
hard work. Tell them hard work keeps you looking like this, girls. This way, keep it going. Hard work. Keep on doing what you're doing and staying focused. I thank God every day for things that have happened in my life in the last 20 years because no one knew in their wildest that any of this would ever happen, that I would be sitting in front of you all today. Never thought that these 3 guys that came into my life in 1980-something, that they would create something so wonderful and beautiful of 2 families that had hearts and guts to fight through the struggle. When I said fight through the struggle, we went through everything a family could go through. But we didn't give up. We just kept on fighting. We just kept on giving all that we had. And I thank God today because when people saw that this wasn't a scripted type of story to tell, a documentary, as you will, it was something that we went through every day of our life. And we and these guys was invited into our life to capture it. And from that capture, you all received it. A lot of people don't want to talk about the ups and downs and trials and tribulation, but we were one of the 2 other families that were willing to just bear it all, and we did that. We gave everything we had within us. Some things so embarrassing that I never thought that I would be able to share, but I was because that's what God wanted to release, for us to release. This is how we grow. This is how we get to the next level, by sharing, giving, and continue giving. And I thank God tonight for each and every one of you all that's here. I thank God that, you know, I was able to live these 20 years and see the fruition of this film, or this documentary, as you want to call it. And I thank God that my husband, Curtis, Joe, they are not here, but they was able to enjoy it, live through it, grow through it. And I thank each and every one of you all tonight. Well, right now I'm working at the Birmingham VA Medical Center. I did make a move from Chicago to Birmingham, Alabama. And I was able to get me a job at the VA hospital serving our American veterans in escort and patient care service, which I enjoy doing each and every day. I don't regret going to my job. I enjoy it. They look at me days and say, why do you always smile? I said, if only you all know where I came from, you'll know why this smile is planted here today. Because I asked God to use me, Lord. Use me as your servant. Let me be a help to someone else. Because I know you have been a help to me. And that's just what he gave me. So I've been there 9 years, and keep on going strong because I'm keep on getting strength to go forward. And I thank God each and every day that he give me to do better than I did yesterday.
So y'all were in your early 20s, you know, when the movie came out, and probably caught a little off guard.
That's right, I was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. At what point, Peter, did you have some sense of this movie was really going to be what it became? And then for all y'all, you know, what was it like then all of a sudden to you know, feeling like you're starting your life and continuing your life, then you're kind of all, you know, suddenly reliving it all over again for everybody out there.
Right.
Well, Steve, who would have loved to have been here tonight but can't because he's out working his film Life Itself, which I hope all of you go see, which is about Roger Ebert. When there was a moment, I was working on a dramatic television show in Chicago, and we got a phone call. They said, well, you should really make sure you guys watch, you know, Ebert and Siskel tonight, which at that time was like the really big movie show, and it was on national TV. It was a big deal. And we didn't really know why. It was, you know, and one of the guys who helped sell the film had slipped them a VHS tape because we weren't really even finished with the film at the time. And we go, and they did like about 6 or 7 minutes on the television show saying that this film's going to the Sundance Film Festival. If someone doesn't buy it, it's a criminal thing. You have to go, this is a great film. It was the first time they had ever reviewed a film that didn't have a distributor, that no one knew about. We never thought that it would ever get that kind of acclaim. I mean, I think we would have been thrilled if people had just seen it on television. And that was a really weird night because we all just sat there and it was sort of like dumbfounded, just like, geez. And then when we went to Sundance, I think that was the thing where suddenly, even though everyone wanted to remake it, it was sort of the closest thing I think you can feel to like being one of the Beatles. You know, I mean, we were, you know, and I had more hair then, but no, but it was really, people embraced the film at Sundance to a point where it was, you know, you got this sense. And I think also, you know, we had never seen it with an audience till Sundance, and seeing it with an audience for the first time, you got a sense of how people connected to these folks right here and everybody else in the film, and that it was a film really that's not about basketball. Basketball is a very small part of the film. It's about family and love and respect. And so I think that was the thing, seeing it for the first time with that audience, you just sort of knew maybe it was special.
Yeah, Mom. When did you know the film was gonna?
I didn't know. I honestly did not know that this would ever become anything but about my son, where he wanted to go, and what he wanted to do. And I said, well, I'll just be glad when all of this is over with. Done. I'm tired of these folks in my house every day. I'm tired of dealing with them all day, every day. Oh, hold that. Don't say that. Do this. Do this. I'm looking at them and saying, I want y'all to go. Y'all been here since this morning. I want you to go. Oh, I think that sounds so nice. Say it again, Sheila. Say just that again. So I never thought 5 years of filming us would turn into something that was heartfelt, heartwarming, changing, and it just blew my mind. And when they said the Academy Awards, I was like, what? Academy Award? Who? What? Y'all up with Pulp Fiction. Up with Pulp Fiction doing what? You all are going to the Academy Awards. So when they snubbed us, I said, oh, good. Whew. But that didn't do it. That just made it more, and more. Everything, interviews, everywhere. flying you everywhere. I said, this thing is really real. I couldn't believe it. I used to have to pinch myself and say, is this really real, Lord? How could this happen like this? Well, that's what 5 years of filming and heart and soul that you pour into something. That's what happened. Without a script, without us being actors or anything. So reality TV, y'all know what that is. We didn't have a script. This is us being us, doing what we do every day. And you can't even go and write this stuff. You can't write it because you don't know how you're gonna feel from one day to the next. But I thank God that He led us, guided us, and took us through. And when we got the nod that we was going to the Academy Awards, that's when we knew we had made it. I knew we had made it. Y'all view.
Well, it's 3 moments that I knew, like, man, this is something, we part of something like real powerful. One, when I'm in college, I'm at Arkansas State, and I go and rent a DVD house party, and I put well, on DVD, VHS back then. Put the VHS in, so you know you're watching the trailers as it come on before the actual movie comes on. So I see Hoop Dreams comes is on the trailer at a house party. I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm like this. Okay, that was one. The second one was when Tom Brokaw. Yeah, Tom Brokaw fly down to Arkansas State and stay on my campus interviewing me for a whole week. Now, he got my basketball coaches, assistant coaches taking him out, drink beer and all this, and he coming hanging with me in class and all of this. And the third one was when President Clinton had a private screening at the White House before he was coming the day after to come and dedicate our library. And he wanted to meet me. President Clinton wanted to meet me. I get a phone call. My assistant coach, don't laugh at his name, y'all. His name is Dickie Nutt. Stop laughing. I'm gonna tell him on y'all now. Stop laughing. Dickie Nutt called my phone. In my dorm room. Hey, Arthur, wake up, man. Somebody wanna meet you. Coach, I'm not going to the presidential dedication of the library. We off school today, and I'm not going. No, I'll be over there. Put on some clothes. I'll be over there in a minute. Came over to the door, knocked on the door. What's up, Coach? Peek out the door. It's him and Clinton and about three Secret Service dudes. How you doing, Arthur? Watched the film last night. It was wonderful. I just had to come and hang out with you. First words come out of my mouth, I'm like in the hood, like, prayers. I ain't say Mr. President, I said prayers. I'm like, I put my foot out of my mouth. But then was the 3 times, though.
Oh man, I don't know if I can top that. Yeah, that was pretty sweet. I remember the first time when somebody else, they gave me a call. They was actually at a movie theater watching Above the Rim, and before the movie came on, Hoop Dreams trailer came up, and they all ran out of the theater and grabbed me and pulled me into that. The second, but I would say probably the most important thing, I knew that it was actually going to be big when the NCAA took our scholarships away.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is huge. We can't go to school for free no more. What we gonna do? What? But they gave them back to us. They gave it back to us, and then I'm gonna put all these in one. But I'm gonna tell you guys this. I don't know why you guys like the movie. No, I'm being honest, because it's our life. We were just living. It's like when I watch somebody else stuff, I go like, oh man, that's great. But then when you talk to them, they say, yeah, it's just what we did. We feel like that. It's like we were just living. But I'll never forget one of the best days I ever had. Marquette, during my senior year, just thought me going to class was just going to be such a distraction. So I didn't go to class my whole second semester senior year, which, I just, devastated. And then, but I'll never forget, they assigned to me, I had my own PR person. She loved it because she went every place I went. She was just like, Will, you don't understand what we get to do. So she went every place I went. So this one particular day, I did the Oprah show. I said, this is big time. I mean, I'm rubbing Oprah's dogs. I'm like, after that, went to Michael Jordan's birthday party. I'm like, wait a minute, is this how they do it every day? And then after went to the birthday party, I got invited over to, what is the guy's name? R. Kelly's house for dinner. I was just like, you know what? I'm good.
Right.
I'm good. I mean.
Thanks for the invite.
I know, right? You talking about not ever expecting anything to happen the way that it did? I mean, some days, all I can remember what my mother said. They did a post-interview. She said, I remember reading this in the newspaper. She said, if I'd have known Hoop Dreams was going to be this big, I would have had more parts in it. I mean.
William's mother, I don't think your mom talked to us for the first 2 years.
Didn't.
I mean, literally, she was like, she looked at us, she was unbelievably nice, but not off camera. But she would not go on camera for a couple of years.
At all.
It was so.
Hey, but these are the bravest three white guys I ever seen in my life. Do you hear me? I mean, the movie actually starts, I'm gonna tell y'all just exactly how I met them, how they started. They was so bold enough to get Big Earl Smith, the big black guy you see in the film, with he was playing like they security around in the neighborhood. So he comes to the west side of Chicago. He's like, yeah, I know a park over here on the west side of Chicago. Let's go over there. They drive over there. I'm out on the basketball court playing. We see these three white guys and this big dude get out the car. They start walking over to the court, start setting up tripods and expensive looking cameras. I'm like, they finna get robbed. So I'm like, I don't like to see people get robbed or nothing, so I go up to it and I'm like, what are these guys doing? And he was like, they filming, they're a PBS company, they doing some on after school, PBS, Channel 11, after school special about inner city basketball. I'm like, y'all know where y'all at, right? Okay, just as long as you know where we at, west side, okay, all right. So they started from there and they just start watching us play, and then Earl Smith was like, hey, pulled me to the side and was like, hey, you got some nice game. He was like, would you like to be part of this project? I was like, yeah, you have to ask my mom, He was like, well, meet me at this playground tomorrow at 5 o'clock so I can go meet your mom. I'm like, what? I run home. I say, Mama, these three white dudes want to make a movie about me. I done just flipped the whole script, exaggerated through it all. Mom, I gotta tell this, my mama had false teeth, she didn't have her teeth in. So she tell me, boy, get on out of here. Nobody wanna make no movie about you. Get on out, take the garbage out. I said, okay, I'm gonna take the garbage out, but they gonna be here at 5. So next day come, they show up, the bravest three white dudes I ever seen, show up coming upstairs in my house with the cameras on. My mama come to the door, she ain't got her teeth in. She see the camera coming upstairs, she runs and slams the door, wham! So now she come back, put her teeth in, hello, how you guys doing? Arthur told me you were coming by. Come on, you want tea, coffee? I'm like, Mama, why you lying? You didn't even believe me. True story.
Anybody want to ask a question or two? Nikki?
William, I would like to know if you went back to the coach 4 years later, and if you did, what did you say?
Coach P?
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You say tell the truth, huh? Coach Ping and I had probably one of the most, I won't even say a love, a hate. I mean, it was, on one level, as crazy as this may sound, I appreciate everything Coach did for me, because at that time, it got me out of Cabrini. But then, I began to despise Coach because, one, he took my man from me. You know, Arthur was the only person that I connected with at St. Joe's. So when he left, see, the movie didn't show that aspect of it where it showed Arthur leaving and what it was doing to him, but here I am stuck at St. Joe's feeling like the only black guy in the whole school. I'm just like, okay, man, this is just, you know, and I struggled going back to school because guess what? You know, I had to answer all of the Arthur Agee questions. I don't know what happened. I don't know. So trying to figure that out at age 15 was difficult. And then, of course, St. Joe's wasn't telling me what was going on. I mean, I didn't even know it was a financial issue. I was just like, where'd Arthur go? Because, you know, Arthur and I, we would meet each other at the trains in the morning and ride to school. I'm telling y'all, that was the longest hour and a half by myself for the last 3.5 years. I mean, it was just incredible. But I did go back to St. Joe's. Spoke at the camp. As a matter of fact, as crazy as it may sound, I even sent my son to St. Joe's for 1 year. Worst mistake I ever made. Pulled him up out of there, you know, and I think it's funny, ever since I pulled him out, this was probably almost maybe because my son's a sophomore now. I pulled him out, and Coach Ping and I have not talked to each other since since his freshman year at St. Joe's. But I was true to my word. I have not given St. Joe's a dime. I just, you know, again, I appreciate everything Coach did for me. I was grateful for that, but I thought Arthur, Coach said it best. You know, and you see that a lot in today's sport, where every kid now, you know, you can't even get recognized unless you're the best first grader. I mean, you know, it's like, this guy's the best first grader. Look at the way he dribbles the ball, pass the ball. And they don't let athletes develop anymore. If you're not ready at the age they think you should be ready, you kind of miss out on it. I often thought about, man, what would Arthur and I had done if he together?
Yeah, been a different movie.
You know, I mean, think about it. I mean, everything basketball-wise, friendship-wise. I mean, I don't think Ping and the school or folks kind of recognize that they brought us in together.
Yep.
We weren't on two different tracks. We was on the same track, and they split the track, and, you know.
But William's skills was far more along than mine were. I mean, as a freshman at 14 years old, William was dunking. We thought William was just in awe of him. And he was my best friend. We didn't have any jealousy in my body for this man, none. But just we looked at him like baby Michael Jordan. For him to come in at St. Joe's as a freshman and start, ain't nobody did that since Isaiah Thomas. And that was back in the 70s. So we was just like, oh man.
But see, I think that was the thing that St. Joe's missed because Arthur was my best friend. He was taken away. I didn't have any, you know, the older guys. See, because I was a freshman playing on the basketball team, those older guys became my friends. So I never connected with my age group. And Arthur was that for me. I didn't need the other guy. I needed Arthur Agee. But Ping took that away, and so it really was challenging.
From our point of view, I mean, like, you were like a man-child. You know, because at 14 years old, William had this incredible skill. He looked older. He looked everything about it, and even your manner. You know, you acted older. And what was interesting is that we never for a second, because Arthur was doing really well at St. Joe's playing ball, really well. He was just doing at the normal pace that most kids would do. Arthur was, you know, we had no indication that you would have ever left, which is why you see this is a documentary filmmaking lesson, which is we didn't film enough sophomore year because we figured we had 4 years. we never in our mind did we think that Arthur wasn't going to be at
I
that
gotta
school.
say this. I gotta say this. That's always been my beef with Steve, Fred, and Peter. They didn't get enough of me. I just felt like they filmed Arthur more than they filmed me. But they keep trying to convince me it was equal. But sophomore year, all you see is, after Arthur go through everything he went through, you see me, the St. Joe's versus Gordon Tech game.
Right.
And they didn't film that.
So Peter, when William says something is just spot on amazing, it was one of the great lines from the 90s when he said that to Coach Ping and just always stuck. Are you like behind the camera going, yeah, that's just...
I'll tell you.
Thank you.
When sort of the end of my relationship with Ping was, that last talk that they have. And when Ping turns and says, William had a decent career and goes through that whole kind of rap. That was the only time I ever put the camera down afterwards, and I said, you really are messed up. Because the fact is William had an incredible career. And also just the fact that they're using the word career. I mean, that this is a grown man using here's somebody who's going to college on a full ride. He had a kid when he was in high school. He was a great dad. I mean, William was an incredible kid, and instead of like just saying what a joy it was to have William, with me for these 4 years, and it was very interesting when Arthur went back to St. Joe's, because when we were filming that, and that was like a crazy day because we didn't expect that to happen. We were, anyways,
they didn't even know I was coming.
Yeah.
Earl Smith showed up to my high school, and he was like, St. Joe's is playing Nazareth today. He was like, I was thinking about going.
We had about 3 weeks of filming towards that part of the film where it was like Shakespeare, where every character just kept running into every other character, and it just was like, oh my God, can you believe that? And it was just going on and on. And, but I mean, when Arthur went back, the one thing that was really interesting was you could see in Ping's face the embarrassment. You could see that he had misjudged Arthur. And the fact is, Arthur did not leave St. Joe's because of any kind of financial reasons. He left because Ping did not think Arthur was going to be a good enough basketball player. Plain and simple. He had an agenda. His agenda was he wanted to win a state title. And that was one of those things that was really hard to deal with. And so that moment sort of, for me, that whole moment, was that moment for me where I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. And because it was like he did it to both of you just in different ways.
So I wanna tell kids, when they look at this movie and see what I went through, because this a kid just hit me on Twitter today. He was like, yo, my life is just like yours. I went to a prep school, and then now I'm back at this public school, and I play basketball. He was like, how do I keep moving forward? How do I keep getting better? I say, hey man, whatever situation you have at that school, you use that as motivation. I was like, and number one thing is you got to have confidence in yourself. In whatever you do, you got to have confidence in it. And as I was leaving St. Joe's, the things that the coach said to me, Mr. Doyle, he passed away right now, rest in peace. I liked him, didn't love him, liked him, but yeah, he passed away. And Mr. Doyle said to me in the hallway as I was gathering my stuff out of my locker to leave, he said, all right, Arthur. He was like, I don't want to be reading about you in the papers mugging any women. So me being the Arthur I am, looked at him like this, like, you won't. And that, I just used that and what Ping did to me as motivation when I got to public school. It was like, I was like a released pit bull. Like I'm gonna make it happen by any means necessary. Like basketball, school, graduating. You know, I had to go to summer school to graduate. You know how many guys I know that was going to summer school with me didn't graduate because they didn't like going to summer school. They said, I'll just come back next year and do a whole nother year over. Not me. I'm gonna go to summer school without my buddy Shannon. It was just their whole leadership mentality thinking. Like, she raised me to be a leader. My daddy raised me to be a leader. You know, being around my good friend, He and I were leaders for each other. We would never follow us, so that's what I told that kid on Twitter. I said, be a leader, man. Be confident in your skills and your talent. Know that you can do. And whatever happens, when you lay it out there. I knocked on that NBA door for 5, 6, 7 years, and they ain't let me in. I'm like, it's okay. I'm still talented. I'm still confident in whatever I do. That's how I know I'll be successful in whatever it is.
Sutton?
I have always wondered, Peter, how did you pitch this to the families? When you went to them, when you went to Mercedes, you went to Wexler, what did you say to them?
We were just going to film for a couple of days.
Actually, I think it was 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2
weeks.
At the most, 2 weeks.
Well, here's the thing. It was, we were, sometimes you just, well, let's put it this way. If we had picked any kid off of that court that you were playing on that day, they would have had an incredible story. Everybody has a great story.
Yeah.
We just got unbelievably lucky with the people that we met, which was Arthur. And so I think for us, it was 2 weeks until, at least I can speak for me. When we went out to St. Joe's, and when Ping said, if you basically, if you do what I tell you to do, I promise you a 4-year scholarship, at a university, I had come off working with Barbara Koppel on a bunch of films, and so for me, I was working in longitudinal films where we followed people for a long period of time, and for me, that was like, bing, there's the film. Like, here's an inner city kid who's being promised something. And so I think for me, that was when it got longer. And then we met, and Ping introduced us to you that day.
At that camp.
At that camp. I don't know what he was talking about.
When Isaiah Thomas was there.
Yeah, and because after, in classic sort of Ping form, after Arthur's family left the room, he said, he's good, but you should really meet this kid. Because I think Ping thought, okay, these guys are going to follow someone. I think deep down he was thinking, William, what a great promotion thing for St. Joe's.
Oh, that's exactly what it was.
And so it was a very pretty incredible. You think about these kind of days in your life where it was sort of like driving home that day. Steve and I were like, whoa, it was pretty incredible. So, but we did take, I should say that I think probably around the end of the first year, they figured out that we weren't going anywhere. And I think there were certain moments too that were, I think there were times where, one, I think where trust was built in a different way. I think when your knee was hurt, I think there was that kind of thing where you let us in a way that was very incredible. And with Arthur, when he had to go, Arthur talks about the grit and everything of when he went to Marshall. But I think from my perspective, when you think about a kid where everybody in that school knew that the reason he was coming back to Marshall was they knew that they were basically saying maybe he wasn't good enough. And to go back to an inner city school like that, that's a tough road. That's not an easy road. And William was going through a lot of tough stuff. And so was Sheila. And so I think there were those times of trust that got built, and then it was more easy to sort of flow with the 4 years. And basically, they didn't have a choice. They weren't going to get rid of us.
Okay, one more question, I think, and then hopefully everybody can hang out a little bit afterwards. Jeff?
So I was wondering, before you even went to the courts, before you did anything, what inspired you to make the film? And then what also convinced the families to agree after the 2 weeks was up and you guys are here, what are you doing? What convinced you guys to continue for the next 5 years?
Well, Steve, so I was already at Cartempuin Films, and Steve and Fred went in and pitched Gordon and Jerry, the guys who were the founders of Cartempuin, on doing, you'll love this, a half-hour movie on one basketball court in Chicago. And since they had no interest in basketball, they said, oh, but we do know this one guy who really does. And so I got a call from Steve that day, and we were talking. And I had also had a lot more experience than they did at that time of making films. But because I had worked with other filmmakers, this was more their first films, and first feature films. They had done lots of really great shorts. And anyways, it was one of those funny things. But the key thing, and I had equipment. It didn't hurt. So that's sort of, the genesis really was just a half-hour film. And that's why I'm saying, for me, the film changed very drastically once we got to St. Joe's and that meeting with Arthur's family. That's where it really took a different scope. And then with the families, I think it wasn't.
Yeah, mom didn't trust you guys for a full year.
I think Arthur's father, Sheila's husband, I think I don't know, he always got it on some level that it was a good thing. Yeah. For a lot of different reasons, but yeah, so, and I think Curtis, I mean, because we were told by you need to talk to my brother Curtis. Yeah, I mean.
But I do remember that day when you guys first approached me. It's like, would you like to, we're doing this documentary, and I was like, you're 14. They got a camera. I don't care. Like, but first you got to talk to my big brother because I don't know what he's going to say. I do everything on my family. But I think one of the reasons that after the 2 weeks that we continue to do it, because Steve, if you ever met Steve James, how many people know Steve James? If you know Steve James, when Steve wants something from you, the conversation gets real slow. Steve is like, William.
It's because he's Southern. He's from the South.
He's from the South. He starts singing the whole plot to you. Listen. I'm like, Steve, what is it, man? Bring it home, bring it home. He's like, I think we got something. And what'd you think about shooting a little longer? I was like, I don't care. So as it went longer for me, I began to enjoy it, as crazy as it sounds, especially when I went to the Nike camp. See, you don't understand, Nike camp was, at that time, you appreciate this, the premier basketball camp. It was only one camp. The top 100 players went. Who had their own personal camera crew? Will Gates did.
And you there with Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, all these $100 million guys that they played in the NBA.
You want to be my friend?
Yeah. Howard, Juwan Howard, Howard Nathan, Tom Kleinsmith. I'm talking about all of them, and he was there. The only one with a camera.
And pizza.
And pizza.
Yeah, because we weren't supposed to, but we would sneak pizza into into the room at night for them. But you did have your own camera.
But I was cool with it for after the first year. I let my wall down, my trust wall down too. After I got released from after I left St. Joe's, I felt like I wasn't gonna be in the. I thought, well, they not gonna.
Well, we had to find it
in St. Joe's, so they didn't even know I had left. So when they found out, they came over to my house like, what happened? What's wrong? What? Well, Mom explained to him. He was like, okay, well, what school you going to next? We was like,
yeah, because we weren't. It wasn't about like the idea that we were filming two kids who were going to the NBA.
Right.
I mean, in our minds, I will say there was a moment with William. I'd say at the end of your sophomore year, we went and saw you play. There was a summer league game that got canceled. I don't know if you remember this. There's a summer league game like with and he was just screwing around playing, and he was playing with some guys, and he was just unconscious. And that was the first time that in my head, it was like, God, he could actually, he could go.
Just so y'all know, I felt that way too.
No, but I'm just saying, but you know what I'm saying? It was like, I mean, it was the first time, it was just sort of like, really, he could go. And it was pretty amazing. But yeah, it was one thing I wanted to say when you said earlier, and then I'll shut up, but about when you talk about the experience of making the film, and the real great thing about it wasn't when the film came out. The real great thing about it was meeting them in that journey we took while we made the film. Yeah. I mean, when the film came out, it turned into something very different, which was great. But while we were making the film, I think those are, probably the 6 most special years of my life. I mean, we all when we all had kids, we all had, I mean, it was just this amazing time. Very special, very special. And you
Peter
guys should
really
know that.
Being gentle with that. I mean, there were times we would go over to their house, hang out. As a matter of fact, I remember when I went to college, and Peter, this just tell you how long ago, but Peter used to send me these cassette tapes. Leo, you appreciate this. Cassette tapes with Isley Brothers. I was like, what Peter know about the Isley Brothers? But I mean, there was stuff like that that I think for all of us, it became more than, we felt like more than just subjects. We felt like we were a part of their family and they were a part of our family. So it was special.
That's an outstanding way to sum it up, maybe, as a message for everybody. Daniel, do you mind grabbing the bag for me that was over by my chair real quick?
You know what, I wanted to say that there's sort of a special thing happening tonight, which is that there was a donor from Indie Memphis who, I think if you look, tell me if I'm wrong here, but if you look under the seats, there was a donor who went out and bought some tickets to Grizzly game.
Yeah,
to a
so
Grizzly game
there's under
tomorrow.
about, I think there's 10 pairs of tickets under people's seats for tomorrow night.
So if you,
against,
this is what you should film.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Here we go.
We're still doing a Q&A. We didn't say, look, what are you guys doing here?
This is the best Q&A I've ever seen. This is like Oprah.
It's so, this audience is so disrespectful. I don't know what you can.
I would also like to say before we close it out that, in Memphis with the Grizzlies, we've got a certain style of play we identify ourselves with that, grit and grind is our motto, and grit and grind is how we hold ourselves out. I think everybody at this table really symbolizes grit and grind, so I'd like to get a little bit of Grizz gear on the way. And
Thank you.
Yeah, what you got for them?
So, thank y'all for showing us what grit and grind really means, and
really,
appreciate everybody for being here tonight.
Yeah, and I think for all of us, this is really special to be here with you guys tonight. So thank you, Indie Memphis, and all your donors and everybody who's made this happen, and it's a joy. So thanks.
I want to give one special thanks to Eric Jambert. Gotta give it to Eric Jambert. Eric Jambert is from Birmingham, Alabama, from where my mom is. And when Eric called me and asked me would I attend, would I be here, could I come, and I said, tell him, yeah. Peter's my good friend. I'm there, Eric. I'm there.
And hopefully we'll see you all in 5 more years at the 25th.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys. If you like any pictures, it's $10 a picture.